First year as a father, I know exactly how it feels. My first year was in 2020, then again in 2022, and once more in 2025. Becoming a father happens in a moment, but becoming a dad takes time, with lots of questions along the way. Questions we, as dads, keep to ourselves. Until now. So why don't I feel like myself anymore? If this sounds familiar, stop me. You're in week 2 of being a new dad. You catch yourself looking in the mirror and not really recognizing the person staring back at you. I think we all had that moment in that second week where, maybe the euphoria of that first week has passed by and you actually have a chance to look at yourself in the mirror, and that could be in the bathroom. It could be, walking outside the house, catching yourself in the mirror before you leave. Or it could be in your car, right? Looking at that rearview mirror and, not recognizing who this new person is, right? That first week goes by so fast that I know for me, I had a moment in my first week of fatherhood back in 2020 where, that person I looked at, I didn't recognize. And at the time, I wasn't sure if it was a good thing or a bad thing. But the person looking back at me was definitely different. I think the thing they never told me about fatherhood was that, yes, you gain a child, but they didn't tell me it was a trade, right? They didn't tell me I was trading in me for the baby, that I was losing myself in the process. And I just kept asking, like, why don't I look like myself? I definitely didn't feel like myself. And it was different, right? It just felt different. And this is something you might be asking yourself in week 2. And, for me, prior to having kids in 2020, and I have 3 of them now, I had such control over my life. I knew exactly what I was doing in a given week. I would go to work 5 days a week. I'd go to the gym after work with my wife. We maybe go to dinner on Friday night, just the 2 of us. We'd see friends on the weekend, maybe have a drink or 2. And then Sunday we'd probably just relax and, maybe watch a couple of TV shows on Netflix. But it was predictable, right? I had control. I knew exactly what I could do and when I could do it. And this is how my parents raised me. They wanted me to optimize my day, and they always taught me routine, and they always taught me structure and getting up when you're supposed to and not sleeping in. And I just and then in an instant it was gone, right? It was gone. I had no control that second week. I was going to the schedule of the baby. To be honest, I tried to take naps when I could, but especially that second week, you're getting up every couple hours because the baby's crying at night. You're changing a diaper constantly because he's peeing and pooing constantly, and you're still trying to figure things out, right? So you're not the fastest at any of these things, and you probably just feel like you lose a lot of yourself that second week. It My moment in the mirror happened when I was, moment in the mirror happened that second week, and it was late at night. I believe it was like 3 a.m. Me and my wife, we had worked up this schedule where, she would feed the baby, and then I would take the baby and keep him upright for, maybe 20 minutes, and then put him back down just to make sure that he wasn't gassy or he didn't spit up, right? And I usually sat in the rocker, just keeping him upright on my shoulder. But I remember this particular night, he was kind of, he was, how do I put this? He's just fidgety, right? Like, he just didn't feel comfortable. So I picked him up and I just walked around the room in our bedroom, and we have a big giant mirror on our dresser, and it was dark, but our room faces some street lights, so there's always a bit of light that peeks through. And I looked at myself, and yeah, I was holding the baby, and at that point he had calmed down. But I was different, I don't think I showered that day. Definitely had random stubble all over my face. Hair was long. It was also during the pandemic, so we couldn't get haircuts, so that might have been why the look was different. But nonetheless, I definitely looked different. I think I had like some spit up on my shirt. Yeah, it was just it probably smelled funky, right? I just didn't recognize that person. That person before was, and you might be like me, where that person before was, shaved every day, brushed his teeth every day, showered every day, just took care of himself, right? Whether that was going to the gym, exercising, optimizing his day, like that was just me before. I was comfortable, and yeah, I was comfortable. But looking back on it now, maybe that's what needed to change. Maybe, sorry guys, I have like a chipmunk right beside me. Yeah, maybe I just needed to, maybe that was the first step. Maybe I had to feel a bit of discomfort, a bit of unfamiliarity, because fatherhood doesn't wait to change you, right? It just changes you, and it changes you right away, whether you're ready for it or not. And I can definitely laugh and appreciate it now, but definitely that second week I was definitely not ready for it, and you're probably not ready for it too, because no one is, right? As a dad, no one's ready. But looking back on it now, I can see that I had to change, and it just accelerated that process. I had to become less rigid. I had to become less rigid. I had to relinquish a bit of control in my life. I just couldn't be that same person before, right? That just had to have everything perfectly planned and executed to raise a child. Because when you have a child, none of that stuff matters. You you can plan, but they can shake up those plans. Kids can shake up those plans, and babies can shake up those plans. So you have to give that all up, right? All that routine and just become someone different, right? And just be the person that they need you to be. And that person can't be fixed on a certain schedule. you just can't, right? You just can't have that. And I learned that. I didn't learn it real quick. I just learned it probably in the last year or so, and I've been a father for 5 years. But yeah, I'm just a completely new person now than I was 5 years ago. You know, fatherhood. You know that cliche, you take one step back, two steps forward? You know, with fatherhood, you definitely take a step back. Maybe in 2 or 3 steps back, like I did. But you gain 4 or 5 steps forward. Or even more, you probably like 10 steps forward, because it just. It, it kills the parts of your personality, at least for me, that you don't need in this new fatherhood lifestyle, or you don't need as much. It shapes the person, and that's the process, right? This is week 2. It shapes the process of who you're going to become. And in order to do that, yeah, it just kills the old you, right? And you might feel like, hey, this is, I don't feel like myself, but you don't feel like yourself, because this is just the first of many steps of constantly changing, constantly evolving for your kids, right? And here's the fun part. There's no finish line, right? Because your kids constantly grow up, so you constantly have to change. You constantly feel uncomfortable, and I used to think that was a bad thing, but that means I'm constantly changing, and I'm constantly evolving and doing new things, trying new things, trying new approaches, being a better person. So, you know, don't be afraid of looking at yourself in the mirror and asking, you know, who is this person? Why don't I feel like myself? Because 5 years later, that was just the appetizer, because it's going to change you in more ways than you know how. And I would say just enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride. So that concludes episode 1 of week 2 of becoming a dad. The next video, I know if your partner is struggling to communicate what she needs, and you've tried everything, and you're just struggling to come up with the answers and how to help as a new dad, the next video is for you. So I'll leave a link here for the next video. Okay, I'll see you guys next time.